Okay, students, we're going to begin this unit on this lesson on negation of conditional statements and De Morgan's law. Of course, there's a picture of a woman pulling her hair out because she was promised she could itemize her deductions, but it didn't work out. A good example. All right, let's get right to it. First of all, the general idea of negating a conditional. Negating a conditional. All right, let's see. Well, if P, then Q. Now, what would be the negation of that? See, the negation of that, the negation of a conditional is as if you made a promise and then it didn't work out. And that is not good. We could think about it this way. Let's try to think about it this way. If I said you had less than 4 absences for the semester, then you would get bonus points. Okay. Now let's say a student last semester said, yeah, Mr. Staples said that at the beginning of the semester, but that's not true. Well, not true. So how would I negate that? One way to negate it would be, I did have less than 4 absences, and what? I did or did not get bonus points. I did not get bonus points. Now, students, this explanation is, in essence, the first part of lesson 3.6. So again, what we're talking about is if you want to negate a conditional, it is equivalent to the final statement. So if I negate the conditional, that would be equivalent to that. Let's see how we can verify that. So if you notice, I have the conditional statement here. Of course, if I was negating it, if I was negating this, right, then that would have to be false, true, false, and false, correct? Now over here, I have a conjunction, and I have the original statement and the negation of the second. Now the question is, what do you notice with this column right here and this column right here? So therefore, they are equivalent statements. Say it another way. The negation of the conjunction is equivalent to a conjunction of the first statement and the negation of the antecedent. That's what we're saying there. All right, so hopefully that makes sense. Now, here's another example. If you work hard, then you get your degree. If you work hard, then you get your degree. Now, can I write the negation of that? Someone said, yeah, they promised that to me at West Georgia 10 years ago, and I'm still looking for it. It didn't work out for me. What would be another way to say that this person did work hard and what? They did not get their degree, okay? So I'm not throwing West Georgia under the bus. I'm just telling you that's a way to look at it. All right. I want to talk for a moment about De Morgan's law. Now, De Morgan's law, he was a mathematician, he was a logician, and he's the guy that helped us to understand that these two statements are the same. You may remember we had the universal, and then we had circle A, we had circle B, and the question was, okay, what's the intersection of A and B? The intersection of A and B is this right here, but what does this mean? The complement of that. So the complement of that is everything that's not there, okay? So it'd be this entire blue section, okay? Now the question is that equivalent to not A union not B? And we looked at that and we said that it was. Well, students, what's sort of amazing about this is that you could apply this to logic too. So let's take the first statement. notice that, notice in this first statement it's a conjunction, but we want to negate the conjunction. Following the same thing we did with the set theory, that's equivalent to a disjunction of the negated statements. That is quite interesting. Again, let's take a look at that. Here we're negating a conjunction. Here we're negating a disjunction. Here is how to answer the first one, and here's the equivalent statement for the second one. Now, I want to sort of, quote, prove it to you. Okay, prove it to you. Here is the conjunction. Here is the negation of the conjunction. And then here is the disjunction of the negations. Again, from our study, what do we know? We notice that these, for the truth table, the truth value is the same for all possibilities. So that means the two statements are equivalent. That is amazing. I think that is so interesting. And you could apply it to argumentation and other areas of logic or applications. Okay. Now, students, I made this video before, and I included a video of Martin Luther King, but when YouTube processed it, it kicked out my audio and said I had a copyright infringement. So I don't want to get in trouble. I'm just going to hit this question. Now, you may remember in his speech, he said something like, for his children, his 4 children, he did not want them to be judged by the color of their skin. By color, I'm just going to say color, skin, okay? And then he had another statement he said too. He was talking about his children being judged by the content of their character. Content, character, okay? Well, you know, that's a good point. And, you know, if you could write what he said. He said, it is not true. He wants this to happen. It's not true that they will be judged by the color of their skin or not by the content of their character. Can we use logic to understand or to interpret or to apply his statement? We could use De Morgan's law, which would be what? P and Q. Or no, not P and not Q, because we negated those statements. Let's see if that makes sense. So here's my understanding of what he said. It is not true that they will be judged by the color of their skin or by the content of their character, okay? And so really, what was he saying? What he was saying was, I dream of a time that they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I think that's a really interesting application of De Morgan's law. I hope you enjoyed that. Now, what I want to do is I want to finish by talking about applying what we're learning to the contrapositive. Contrapositive. So here's a statement. If it snows, then I do not go outside and I study. All right, let's see. Let's put some letters here. How about S for snows? Do not go outside. Do not go outside, and I study. Study. I'm just going to put D for study. Okay. So if it snows, then what? I do not go outside, and I study. Now, what would the contrapositive be? The contrapositive would be the antecedent moved that way and the consequent moved that way, and both of them negated. So not G and D, not G and D implies not S. Now, is there another way to say this? Well, yes, there is. This is the negation of a conjunction. It's a disjunction of the negated statement. So not G would be G, not D implies not S. What does this mean in language? If I go outside or I don't study, that means then it did not snow. Now just think about that. No one's trying to mess with your mind. Do the two make sense? And if they do, then you get the general gist of how to apply some of these things that we've studied in our course. Now, logic doesn't mean you're going to, learn everything automatically and figure the truth out of every court case and all of that, but it is a help. And I hope that helps you. Thank you.